Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to this sweater. I am a sucker for those Target releases. I will buy them. I will. Yeah, so this is the story of the sweater and these little earrings. I think they still have plastic on them. No, I took it off. Right, so in today's video, I wanted to take a moment to be honest. And a couple of months ago, I made the following video. And I talked about ways that I processed situations where it was tough for me to be excited for someone else. And I won't necessarily go into the things I processed in that video. You can go back and watch it. At the time, what I realized when I made it was they took me kind of years to sort of work on those things. And once I got my mind to the right place, I was able to handle those situations much, much better. I really, really worked on my mindset for a long time so that I could be the type of person that applauded my friends, instead of sort of sitting back and being like, why not me? And I'm proud of the work that I did. And I thought that my work and my thought process could maybe help other people. And so I decided to share and I came out with that video. However, sometimes there are things that I have not processed yet. And I will be hanging out on social media and all of a sudden out of nowhere, I'll get hit by a landmine of comparison and jealousy all of a sudden. And in this video, I want to sort of explore what I do when I'm in those situations and how I get myself back to like a healthy mindset. I also want to say that a lot of times these are things that I think I've like pushed down or I'm not thinking about it. In the other video I made, they were things that stayed on my mind for years. And so I had like I knew this is something you need to work on. But recently, the things that have kind of jumped up and bit me in the butt have been things that I'm like, oh, I thought I was over that, so here they go. So the past week I was on Instagram. And before I go any further, I want to share a TikTok, as usual, of this girl talking about really the downside to Instagram.
Have you ever wanted confirmation of that deeply seated fear that everyone you know is doing better than you are in every conceivable way? Hi, I'm Satan, and I want to tell you a little bit about an app I created called Instagram.
So I really agree with her, even though I'm trying to better my Instagram situation because it's real bad right now. If you found my Instagram, it's not great. And that's partly because for a long time, I had a teacher Instagram where kids followed me. So I was really, really restrictive about the things I would post. And then, I wasn't too good about, I've never been too good about taking pictures of like my full body. Like it took me a while to get comfortable with that. And then also, I wasn't doing anything. So it's hard to take pictures of things when you're not doing anything. So I'm working on it. I'm working on my Instagram situation. But I still go on and like people's pictures and interact and do whatever. And I'm on there and I get into a situation that's exactly like what that girl talked about in her TikTok. Like just reminded that someone is doing a lot better than you. What happened was, one of the people that I know from Los Angeles, she is a jet setter for real. She's a jet setter. You've got people that are like, I like to travel. This girl, when I lived in LA, we would maybe be texting like on a Tuesday. She'd be like, okay, well, if you're free, I'm free Thursday, we can hang out. And I'd be like, okay, cool. And I would text her on a Thursday, and this is a true story. I'd be like, okay, hey, so when are you open to hang out today? No lie, she responded, girl, I'm in Paris. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you I'm in Paris. My goodness gracious. Okay. All right. But that's how she wrote. Like at any moment, she gone. And part of that is because she did get, we went to school for the same thing, graduated with the same thing around the same time. She graduated a couple months after I did. But her family is from Los Angeles, so she was able to live kind of rent-free for about 2 to 3 years while she worked her way through the PA positions and this and that. And she's been very fortunate, and she's also good at what she does, But she's been fortunate and she's been successful. So she has, a certain financial status. So what I saw on my friend's Instagram, let's get to the point here, rambling. I saw that she is in Europe, and she's been in Europe for a couple of weeks now. I found out she was going to go to Europe, just like checking in with her. I was like, hey, are you going to be around at da da da? And she was like, no, I should be in Europe at that time. There's some weird stuff going on with the COVID vaccine, but if everything is good, that's where I'll be. I'll let you know if I don't go. She never lets me know. She just gone. So I checked her story and I saw, yep, she's in Europe, living it up. And the crazy thing about her is it won't just be like, oh, I was sightseeing. It's these like incredible experiences that she has when she travels. And when I tell you how small it made me feel, even if I wanted to, at this time in my life, I could not pick up and go to Europe for 2 weeks. Couldn't do it, even if I wanted to. So what I did in this situation was I literally sat back and I was like, why haven't you taken a big trip where you've really invested? And I do think a lot of it had to do with my schedule. A lot of it had to do with funding. A lot of it had to do with just not intentionally placing travel as one of the experiences that I wanted to have in my life. I honestly, like when I was growing up, I went on vacations all the time. I saw the entire United States. I got taken to resorts. I got taken out of Jamaica, Cancun. My parents paid for me to study abroad. Like I had all these really enriching experiences as a kid and as a young adult. And so when I got to my adulthood, for so long it's been like about survival mode that I didn't think, I guess I still deserved these enriching experiences. And I certainly didn't do anything to have them. And so I was thinking back to when I was teaching and I was like, did you ever intentionally set aside money? Like, hey, we've got the summers off and this is what I'm going to do. No, because, I was always like trying to pay rent. But weren't you in Target a lot? But didn't you do a lot of fast food? Like, don't you think if you could have just set aside a little bit, like you could have, so what I ended up doing, like to get out of this funk, because I was really like, I want to go to Europe. What I ended up doing was I made a spreadsheet and I was like, this is how much it costs to go here. This is your ticket. This would be accommodations. This would be like what you want to do when you go, which to me, like I can get there and I can do a hotel. But what takes me out a lot of the time when it comes to budget is like excursions and like what you're going to do when you get there. It's so funny because I'll be on social media and I'll see like a influencer, like, what was her name? Leanne V. She got married in Hawaii. And I'm looking at all the things that she's doing. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's so expensive. Going back to what I did, I was like, okay, let's budget. So what you need to do is figure out like, this is where you want to go. This is how much it costs to get there. This is how much excursions would be. And now what I want you to do, start a travel fund. You're not one of those people, I won't say never, but you're not one of those people who can be like, girl, I forgot to tell you, I'm in Paris this week. That is not you. You're going to need to have money set aside and you're going to need to move months in advance with your situation. That's how it's going to work for you. There's a quote that I read a few years ago that I really try and refer back to anytime I feel like I'm behind in life and like I don't have it together with something. And the quote is, action is the antidote to despair. So what I found was when I looked at, this person that I know and I looked at what she's doing, that's great. Like I can't catch up with you money wise. I can't catch up with you. Like I can't catch up, but I can take action now so that I can start to have these experiences for myself. And I have decided that 2022 will be my year of travel. I know my situation, so I'm like, you can't probably go nowhere before 2022 if we really want to do it right. But we're going to make sure you get out, you get somewhere, you get on a plane and you get some experiences, because I do like to be out in the world. I do like to travel. I just didn't do it for so long because I forgot to take care of myself, if you will. So that's really what the situation reminded me of. Are you taking care of all parts of yourself? She is. Are you? Okay, the next thing that kind of threw me for a loop that I saw on social media that I had to crawl out of the comparison like ditch. I was on TikTok yet again and I saw a girl. She's popular for being extremely negative on the internet. She will get online and just like have these really, really negative takes. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. She's a little girl, and I say a little girl, she's like 23 maybe. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Oh, I like her because she just sort of speaks really directly and it's funny. But the thing is that she was online and she made a TikTok about how this guy had reached out to her. And he said, I have tickets. I get free tickets from my job, free flights, and I want to invite you to a music festival this weekend. And he said, you know, I think you're funny and I think we'd really get along. And so if you're interested, I'm going to give you access to these things. And she made a TikTok talking about it. She was like, I'd be so crazy to take him up on this. What kind of idiot goes to the airport and flies on a plane to meet somebody she never through TikTok? And while she's talking, you can clearly see in the background that she's at the airport. And then she updated, you know, people later on. She was like, yeah, I'm here. I did it. And it's pretty cool. When I tell you this made me want to I'm not kidding. I didn't know what to do. I was filled with so much rage. So I was like, okay, let's dissect this for a little bit. So the first reason why this filled me with rage is, once again, I have to go back to this idea of never having that experience as a dating woman and being somebody that is like a romantic and wants to have those fanciful experiences, and never having had someone be like, oh yeah, I'll fly you out. Oh yeah, we'll do that. So whenever I hear about it happening, I'm like, how nice. And then it was the prospect of somebody reaching out because they'd seen you and they'd seen something in you and they were like, you would make great company. And then I think it was the fact that he was like, oh, you're funny. I'll just be honest. Like, I've had some people write in my comments, they're like, oh, what if a guy reached out to you because of your YouTube? Honestly, if he reached out to me because of this YouTube, he is not looking to, I don't know what he's looking for, but I probably wouldn't like it, because 100% on my YouTube channel, I'm not being, hey, I'm a comedian. Hey, I'm fun. It's fun to get, like, this dude, if he saw my content and then reached out, I would be 100% afraid of that he was trying to like manipulate me, or that he'd throw something back in my face. Like, maybe we'd be out eating and he'd be like, enjoying your meal? How do you feel about a man not standing you up in the middle of the restaurant? You know, I feel like he would throw my content back at me. So I would not want anybody to reach out to me because they saw me here, not for romantic purposes, if you will. And also, you know, she made me think about the fact that I've been in situations with guys and they've been like, oh my God, you're so hilarious. Oh my God. Honey, come here. Isn't she hilarious? In fact, there's a story like a couple years ago. I was at a house and I was at a party with a friend of a friend. We went to a party. Her significant other was there. Me and this guy started talking. And when I tell you, this man had like tears running down his face from laughter. I don't even know what we were talking about. Like, my stomach hurt. We were just cracking up. And the girl, the friend of the friend, she was watching this happen. And she eventually walked over to him and like straddled him and like stuck her tongue in his mouth while I was talking to him. And I was like, okay, cool girl. Got the point. Marking your territory. And I walked away. Do you know that years later, she did not marry that guy. She married another guy, had a bunch of babies with him, bought the house, did the whole thing. She's in a whole different settled reality. She's like, I still talk to that dude, you know, like through Facebook or whatever. Whenever we connect, whether it's through Facebook, through events, through whatever, he always asks about you. Talking about me, Stephanie, me. And he's always like, what happened to that girl? She was so funny at the party that one time. Now, this dude is married. He's got kids. You know what I'm saying? I never had nobody be like, oh my God, why don't I give you some tickets? I'm like, never. And then I think this was the main thing that just got me. I was like, can you imagine having a job? Because I don't know if I mentioned it, but the guy was like, my job gets me free flights, free tickets. I can only imagine having a job where you get in for the free just by going to work. Like, I've mentioned this before about teaching, the way teachers put it all on the line. And one of the funniest things in the world is when Teacher Appreciation Week comes along and people share the things that they've been given by their administration and by their district for being teachers. And it's things like rolls of toilet paper, exactly one pack of gummy bears, like gag gifts, like, hey, making sure your day doesn't suck, here's a paper straw. Just crazy, lazy gifts. I told, before on my channel about how my job paid for me to travel one time, and I went to the hotel. There was either blood or poop on the walls. We don't know. Bugs in the floor, holes in the idea that you will go to work and someone would be like, it's great to be here. Here's something free. And here's the thing. When it really comes down to it, I don't necessarily want like a man to be like, oh, I'll give you that. It'd be great if I could just figure out how I get that myself. How do I do that? Most importantly though, I realized I have not been to a music festival in 10 years. There's a lot I have not done. And I think that is something all of these stories have in common. Seeing other people's posts and seeing people do things that I've like buried. I've definitely buried like the want to get out and travel, because like the finances and the logistics scare me because I've had some interesting experiences. And I have buried like wanting to do things like go to music festivals. And I've also buried wanting to find careers and opportunities where I am properly compensated, and not just in funds, but in perks. Hey, we're excited to have you here. Here's this. So to climb out of that particular hole, I said, you know what? First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out this music festival schedule for next year, the year after, which is just so we have the information. And before you turn 40, so I've got 3 years, I want you to go to all the music festivals that you've been curious about over the years. So I'm talking about, I've been to Austin City Limits, which is happening now, but I've never been to Coachella, and I missed Beachella, which I want to go to Governor's Ball. I want to go to Afropunk. I remember finding out that Afropunk existed when I was a kid and just being like, just weight lifted off my shoulders. I'd like to go. I've never been to Essence Fest. There's so many different festivals and things that I've never done that I want to do. So I added to my spreadsheet. I was like, okay, now concert, city, how much does a flight cost? How much would accommodation be? So on and so forth. And as far as getting a job or a gig where I get the free stuff, where I get to be the person that says, hey, I've got tickets to, hey, if you want to go, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I feel like one day I'm gonna get there. So yeah, I wanted to share this very long video with you because I just wanted to kind of give an update to what I'd released earlier this year. Like, it's not always easy to look at what someone else is doing, especially on social media. As that TikTok said, like it can feel like Instagram was invented by the devil himself just to make you feel like. And it is not always easy just to be like, oh my God. And we can only really process through the stuff that we're consciously aware of. Like, I had forgotten that I like to travel. I had so long like been in this mindset of, oh, well, you're working, and oh, you don't have the schedule to just pick up and go, and I had just crossed that off, and I was like, whatever. Not a big deal. It is a big deal. I want to go. I had also forgotten about music festivals. I love festivals. I love being out there. Why am I not doing it? It's going to take some work. It's going to take some planning, and it's going to take some budgeting, but it's going to be worth it in the end, so that the next time I see someone post something on social media, I won't want to, which is what I wanted to do this past week. So how about you? What do you do when you're online and you see something and it's just like, boom, that made me feel like crap? Please feel free to share in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.